Okay, ladies and gents, welcome back to a brand new video. If you're new here, my name is Rowntree. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and we'll dive into the video. So yes, as you can tell by the title of the video, we're going to be discussing one life on after graduating from architecture school. It's been literally 1 year since I submitted my work. I clicked that submission button and sent my work off for good, and I haven't looked back since. So I'm literally just going to be sitting here, give you a bit of a life update, talk about the past year and kind of what's been going on, and just give you the lowdown and just give you an indication of what kind of it's like after studying and graduating from architecture school. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. So yes, obviously, during my time after university, I've pretty much documented the whole journey with you guys. You guys have seen me go through my steps in coming out of university, obviously going on holiday, getting my job and announcing my job, applying for my masters and all that kind of thing. I've literally shown you my entire journey, but I thought I'd just sit and have a relaxed conversation about the past year and just talk about what's been going on. So as you guys would know, I spent the last 3 months of my undergraduate degree studying here in my kitchen, in this corner of my kitchen, literally right here, due to the pandemic, due to obviously the outbreak of COVID, and obviously that has changed my experience drastically than what it would have been. So following graduation, obviously I worked countless hours, as you guys would know, as an architecture student. It is bonkers, it's stressful, it's crazy, it's chaotic, it's bonkers, to be honest, studying as an architecture student. So the last few weeks were crazy, and I shared that journey with you guys. You guys would have seen the stress and everything that I went through. And obviously coming out of that and going into pretty much nothing, coming out of university and graduating from that, it was quite a kind of anticlimactic experience. Anticlimactic? I can't even say it. It was obviously a weird experience coming out of university, going from one extreme, going from this obviously really stressful subject and putting my heart and soul into university, and coming out and literally doing nothing and have a summer of doing nothing, 3 months off of literally just relaxing and going out and enjoying myself. But obviously due to the pandemic, that was limited to some degree. So as you guys would know through my experience in my videos, I struggled a bit. I found it quite difficult. I found the transition from obviously going from one extreme to the other very difficult, and I thought it was really tough mentally for me and physically, because gyms weren't open and those kinds of things, so I couldn't go out and exercise. Obviously I could go for runs, etc. But you guys would know I absolutely love going to the gym. And I think for me, anxiety was a big part of my summer last year, and not understanding where I was going to go, what was going to happen, feeling like I should be doing things all the time, because when you're studying so much, you kind of get yourself in this routine and this mentality that you should be working constantly and you need to do this and you need to do that. And then obviously coming out of that, you feel like you should be continuing to do things because you've programmed your mind to think that you're meant to be doing all of this work. So obviously having a summer off of doing nothing, it did make me feel quite anxious, because I feel like I should be proactive doing things, but instead I just needed to catch up on some sleep, I needed to rest, I needed to take some time off, and of course I did do that. I made the most of it. I literally, for the first 2-3 weeks after graduating, after finishing, I literally slept till like 1 o'clock every single day. I got in loads of sleep, watched so many films, relaxed as much as I possibly could. But obviously you can't do that forever. It gets to a point where that makes you feel a bit drowsy, makes you feel a little bit lazy, makes you feel tired, and it just doesn't make you feel ideal at all. And just before I continue, I just want to say this video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community to help you guys as individuals, as creatives, to develop on your skills and take your work to that next level. Skillshare has a wide range of tutorials and classes to help you guys grow as a graphic designer, as an illustrator, as a photographer, as an architect, as a musician person, as a videographer. Any creative field, Skillshare's got you sorted. And if you're noticing you've got a lot of time spare after graduating from university and you want to do something creative, you could follow a tutorial like this to help you build on your creative skills. I recently got involved in this lesson, YouTube Success, Script, Shoot and Edit by MKBHD, and this tutorial is fantastic to help you guys learn how to use a camera, planning a video, editing a video, shooting a video, and growing a channel if you want to be a potential YouTuber. And if you guys want to get involved in this, make sure you head over to Skillshare. They've got a fantastic monthly membership, and the first 1,000 people to hit that link down below in the description will receive a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. So back to the video. So following like a couple weeks off, I started to put together application packages and putting together a CV, portfolio, cover letters, websites, business cards, and just put myself in a best possible position to take my kind of practice to that next level and find a job as a Part 1 architecture assistant following graduation. So my aim was always to try and get a job by September. That was obviously a good time to get a job because it means I could work for an entire year and then decide on what I wanted to do, whether I wanted to go into a master's or continue working. So typically getting a job around like August, September time is a good time following graduation. I spent the entire summer putting together an application package, and eventually after applying for many practices and going for interviews, I got my position as a Part 1 architecture assistant for a practice in London, and I started that in mid-September. So for me, I was extremely excited. Obviously having the opportunity to work in London. Obviously at that time, people weren't in the offices because of the pandemic. But when I went for the interview, we discussed that the offices might be open by October. So I was like, great, I've got like a month to adjust and go to London and move there and everything. But obviously, as the pandemic obviously continued, I've said obviously so many times, as the pandemic continued, we had a second lockdown which took us October, November, December time. We were in second lockdown, it was bonkers, and so I couldn't go to the London office and I had to continue working from home in this corner of my kitchen. And then the date for going back to the office got pushed back, and eventually 9-10 months later, I'm sat here still in the corner of my kitchen, and I've never been to the office. I've never met any of the people that I work with, and it's been this really kind of odd experience. It's been this really weird kind of whirlwind of a journey. Obviously following a graduation that you'd expect to move out, you'd expect to obviously go off and do your own thing and meet all these new people and obviously go off in the working life. And though I've kind of done that, I haven't at the same time. So it's this weird dynamic where I've been working for the past year. I've communicated with people over Teams and those kinds of things, but I'm still in the corner of my kitchen. So I feel like I have progressed, but at the same time, I don't feel like I have, because I haven't gone out there into the world and moved out and obviously paying bills and doing my own thing and obviously living a life like an adult. I've just been stuck in this corner of my kitchen. So it's been kind of weird. And I'd say the past kind of 6 months or so, in the past 8 months, I found it really difficult, if I'm honest. I found it really difficult working from home. It's been one of those things where, though it's quite easy getting up in the morning, you literally just walk down your stairs. Everything is very convenient. If I wanted to make a coffee, I could just literally nip to my coffee machine. If I wanted to go on a walk on my lunch, I can just walk on my lunch. And if I wanted to see my girlfriend in the evening, I can. And obviously, in that instance, I'd normally be in London. I wouldn't have that opportunity. I'd be traveling to work every day. It'd probably be like a 40-minute tube journey and all those kinds of things. It'd be a lot more stressful, obviously, being in the London environment. So though it's been kind of more convenient working and living from home, it's been a little bit more difficult. I found it's one of those things where when you work and you live in the same environment, I literally wake up, my bedroom is directly above me. I wake up at 8:30 every morning. I wander downstairs, make a coffee, have a shower, etc. Start work at 9 o'clock, finish work at 5:30, go outside into the garden, and go back upstairs into bed and sleep. And it's this weird cycle of being in the same environment constantly, where it kind of makes you feel quite demotivated and quite lazy and tired, and that is the reality of it, really. Though obviously it's very convenient being at home and it's amazing being in my home environment, it's still difficult. I still find it really difficult mentally and physically. So yeah, that is literally my experience, like kind of my lifestyle as a Part 1 architectural assistant. I wanted to sit here, and I'm always open and honest about my experiences on this YouTube channel because I want people to relate. I want you guys to feel like that you're not alone if you're struggling with something. And obviously a lot of the time people don't talk about the tough times, and I want to be that person to be here to share my experiences through the difficult and the good times. And yes, the past year has been difficult. I found it really hard. And talking about the work itself, obviously going through architecture school, you produce some absolutely bonkers drawings, some bonkers projects that would never be able to be built. And I think when you come out of university and go into practice, it's a bit of a reality check to think, hang on a minute, we've got to think about budget here, we've got to talk to the client, we've got to think about how this could actually be constructed, we've got regulations to follow, we've got processes to follow, we've got clients and consultants to communicate with, we've got design stages to follow. There's so many things you have to think about. and it is a completely different environment to university, and it's obviously nowhere near as kind of blue sky projects, because you kind of have the world at your oyster. Whilst at university, you can design whatever you want, and whether it could stand up or not, it doesn't matter. It looks cool, you'll get the grade for it, that's great. But obviously going into practice, it's a little bit of a reality check where you kind of realize, wow, how things are actually constructed. How do you actually communicate with a client? What are the design processes? What are the different types of buildings that you'd be working with? Are you working in residential? You might be working in retail, you might be working in hotel. And it kind of opens your eyes up to the world and realize, wow, this is actually the real world. We've actually got to design buildings to accommodate people and look after people and really affect people's lives and impact people's lives. So it's a big kind of reality check where you think, wow, I've got this pressure now, I've got to actually produce some solid drawings here that are actually going to make sense, and you've now got this responsibility as an architecture assistant to actually help design these buildings that are going to impact people's lives. And I think that is super special, and I think that's one of the main things that I love about architecture, is that you have this impact on people. But definitely coming out of university and going to practice, it's a bit of a reality check, and you realise how things are actually run, how you communicate with people and the procedures and everything. I've got 6 weeks left of my Part 1 architectural assistant job, so I'll be finishing at the end of July, and then I have 2 months off, or 1.5 months off, before going into university and studying my masters, which I'm really excited about. I'm ready to go back in now, which is great. Obviously following a year's of work experience. And yeah, that is me rambling on. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Then yeah, make sure you smash that thumbs up button, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Peace.